When I was 10 years old, I went on a camping trip with my family. I was an adventurous kid and loved exploring and was very familiar with the woods. So when I asked my mother if I could hike a map trail on my own, she agreed, but with one condition: only go halfway and come back. I set off at 9 a.m., following the trail, feeling like the woods were my domain. About 2 hours in, things took a turn. A massive thunderstorm hit out of nowhere, and an unnerving feeling of dread, bordering on panic, washed over me, like I was being watched. The rain was coming down in sheets and the wind whipped around, pulling at my clothes. In a panic, I did the one thing I knew I shouldn't. I started running. It wasn't long before I was completely lost. As the storm intensified, I became disoriented, and I had no idea which direction I was heading. In a panic, I kept running, hoping I'd find my way back, and then suddenly, I blacked out. When I came to, I was stumbling through the woods, disheveled and confused. That's when I stumbled upon a fishing camp. The fishermen looked at me like I was a ghost. I was in a fog, but I was thankful to be found. They boated me back to shore and drove me back to my campground. Along the way, one of the fishermen who had been looking at me oddly but never speaking finally broke his silence. "How did you get to our fishing camp? You can only get there by boat." Confused, I simply replied, "I don't know." When I got back to the campground, my mother didn't show any concern whatsoever and said, "Perfect, you're just in time for dinner." I looked at the clock and it was 7 p.m. I had been gone for nearly 10 hours. I thought I'd only been out for a few hours. What happened? Where did those hours go? While the stories of Travis Walton, Benny and Barney Hill, and others have certainly entered the realm of UFO and missing time lore, there are countless lesser-known cases of missing time that continue to puzzle both experiencers and investigators alike. One such case occurred in 1973 in the rural town of Ticino, Switzerland. A man named Francois Lay, an experienced hiker, was trekking through the Swiss Alps when he experienced a very bizarre event. According to Lay, he had been hiking up a familiar trail when all of a sudden the weather took a strange turn. Dark clouds gathered and an eerie silence fell over the area. As he navigated a narrow pass, he suddenly saw a flash of light ahead. Intrigued, he moved closer. But what happened next defies any conventional explanation. He blacked out completely. When Lay regained consciousness, he found himself lying in the same area, but several hours had passed. He was certain it had only been minutes since the flash. Confused, he checked his watch, and to his horror, the time was almost 6 hours ahead of what he believed had transpired. He later recounted the feeling that there had been some form of time compression, as if everything around him had moved at a faster pace while he was unconscious. Adding to the strangeness, Lay found no sign of any other hikers or wildlife in the area, though he had been on a popular trail frequented by many. For years, Lay kept his experience to himself, fearing ridicule. But in 1990, after learning about similar experiences, he finally came forward to share his encounter, adding one more layer of mystery to the long list of unexplained missing time phenomena. Another such case occurred in 1964, involving a man named Robert Taylor, a forest worker in Scotland. Taylor was on his usual patrol near the Detchmount Woods in Livingston when he encountered something he couldn't explain. According to his own account, while walking through the woods, he saw a large metallic object hovering slightly above the ground. It was shaped like a balloon, but with strange appendages extending from it. Curious, Taylor approached it, but before he could get too close, a beam of light shot out and struck him. He immediately felt paralyzed, unable to move or speak. But it wasn't just the beam that affected him. Two objects resembling ball-shaped devices hovered near him, and the next thing he knew, he woke up on the ground. Taylor had no memory of what happened. He was certain that he had blacked out completely. His clothes were disheveled, his legs were covered in burns, and he had a strange, foul odor lingering on him. What was even more bizarre was that he noticed a visible indentation in the ground where the object had hovered. The entire event lasted for hours, but Taylor had no idea what happened during that period. He reported the incident to the authorities, but investigations turned up no conclusive evidence. Local media sensationalized the story, with some even suggesting that Taylor had been the victim of a prank, but no one could explain the strange physical symptoms and the time loss. To this day, Robert Taylor's encounter remains one of the strangest, least understood cases of missing time, one that remains clouded in mystery and continues to puzzle UFO and paranormal researchers around the world. So what could explain these mysterious experiences of missing time? While some people point to the possibility of alien abduction where time loss is a common feature, let's first look at more conventional explanations. One theory is disassociation, where the brain disconnects from a traumatic or overwhelming experience in order to protect itself. This can happen in high-stress situations like when I was lost in the woods. The sheer panic and fear could have triggered a dissociative state where my mind blocked out the lost hours, making it seem like time just vanished. Another possibility is a psychological phenomenon known as time distortion. In moments of extreme stress or fear, our perception of time can become warped, making hours feel like minutes. The brain essentially accelerates or decelerates its sense of time to help cope with the intensity of the situation. And then, of course, there's the more speculative idea that some of these incidents could be linked to things like time travel or dimensional shifts. While it sounds like something out of science fiction, it's a theory that raises fascinating questions and has some basis in real, established science. Could we be unknowingly slipping between dimensions or timelines? In many missing time cases, there's no clear explanation, which leaves room for all kinds of theories. Missing time remains one of the more puzzling and mysterious phenomena out there. Whether it's alien encounters, psychological defense mechanisms, or something stranger still, the unexplained gaps in our lives leave us questioning what's really going on behind the scenes. But for now, the mystery remains unsolved. What do you think happened to me that day? Was I lost in the woods, or was there something more at play? And what do you make of the other stories I've shared? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more strange tales from the Oddverse.